Hi everybody, today we're going to be making a sugar skull inspired picture. And for our project today, we are going to be using some tracing paper. I'm using sandwich wrap instead, which is works just the same. It's very translucent. We're also going to need a copy of a blank sugar skull image, some markers, and a black Sharpie. So to get started, boys and girls, we're first going to need to fold our image or paper in half. So let's go ahead and take our paper and fold it in half long ways, so that it's almost like if we were closing a book, so that the edges are aligned and the corners. And try to get it as centered as possible right in the middle here. Okay. Once we have that, you should have a line right through the middle that looks something like this. And right here towards the top, I want you just to do a half of a heart, just so that we know that this is where our guiding marks are going to begin. Once you have that, you're going to fold it back up again. And now we're going to start our frame shape. So towards the top corner here, let's go ahead and start with a flower design of some sort. You can do a different type of flower. You can do a heart. If you don't want a flower, you can do a different shape. So it's really up to you what type of design you want. Okay, and you're also going to elaborate, so add more detail. I am going to be adding some leaves to beautify my corner frame part here. Okay, so towards the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing and add another design similar to the one that I just added there. Don't forget to add your detail as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and complete our frame by connecting the top corner flower to the heart shape with a vine. We're going to connect the two flowers towards the side here with another vine. And towards the center part here on the bottom, we're also going to make a line to represent the vine shape. We can add thorns or leaves to our little vine, just to make it more interesting. Okay, so once we have our frame here, if you notice, only half of it is showing. So now we have to transfer the other half by tracing it in. And in order to do that, we keep our paper folded and we just flip it over. So you should be able to see the frame very clearly. since we're working with tracing paper. So let's go ahead and start tracing it in on the opposite side. All right, so now that we have our beautiful border area, we're going to go ahead and open it back up again. We can see the full frame area now. This is a great start. So now you're going to go ahead and take your skull and we're going to place it underneath, right towards the center part. Try to get it as even in the middle as possible. So you can see the skull shape really well. If your frame kind of interferes a little, that's okay. It'll just be part of the skull. So hold it down. And let's go ahead and start tracing it in as best as we can. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you try your best. Make sure you're holding it down with one hand and tracing it in with the other. Remember not to touch the wet areas of your marker so that it doesn't smear too much. If it smears a little, that's okay. In the end, we're going to add color to it anyway, so the smears are going to fade into our color. Okay, so now that we have our skull drawn out, now it's time to design it. And for our designs, we can do any type of designs that we want. It doesn't necessarily have to look the same as everybody else's. So this is where your creativity comes in. Think about shapes that you can add around the eyes. Think about some shapes that you can add on the forehead and towards the side of the head. Think about maybe a little mustache or flowers right down here towards the chin area. So we're going to go ahead and have fun designing our beautiful calaveritas now. And you guys can use any type of pattern or design that you want. Okay, so now that we have our sugar skull inspired composition, boys and girls, let's go ahead and add some color next. If you would rather use other coloring tools that you may have, you can go ahead and use those instead. I'm going to be using markers for mine. So let's go ahead and start coloring it in and just have fun with the coloring part. I'm going to color all of my sugar skull and my frame. And I'm going to leave out my background just blank. So that's an option. If you want to color in your background as well, you're more than welcome to do so. So let's go ahead and start having fun with the coloring part. Here is a great example of one that's already been colored in. If you notice, I actually used a very light color for the actual spool head, and I added lots of different colors for the rest of my designs. So that's a possibility, but make sure that when you're coloring it in, try to color in as thoroughly as possible. So try not to scribble, try not to leave any blank areas showing, and just try your best, boys and girls. So let's go ahead and start coloring it in next.